All right, good afternoon. So this 50-point project is nothing more than a worksheet, but it's pretty complicated as far as worksheets go. What you've got to do in order to earn your 50 points, every single object on this page, and there's a lot of them, has to be fully shaded, and I want to see some blends of color, okay? The blending of color I don't normally make you do, but I want to see if you can do it along with your shading. Blended colors, of course, give you a good deal more variety in terms of surface, and I want to see that variety appear in your attempts to blend. Now, what I've done over here on this side, I have very lightly laid in some oranges and yellows, and I'm getting ready to add some very light green. In fact, this is a very dark green as you look at it, but that doesn't mean that I have to apply it heavily. I can apply it lightly. So the first thing you do is pick color, decide where it goes, and lay it down lightly. You notice I'm kind of ignoring divisions between individual forms here. I just kind of let the color roll in different areas. You can do that. Keep it light. You've got to have those lighter values. Remember that a range of value depends on light, medium, and dark. Well, if we keep everything light, we have our light values, even if they are already kind of blending together. So this is not necessarily the way I want you to approach your work. I'm just saying this is a possibility. Turn the paper to make it easy for you to get into all these hard to reach edges and corners. All right, going quickly right now at this stage is okay because it's very likely that if you do make a mistake, you're going to be able to erase it pretty easily. Have your eraser handy like I do, all right? Let me see what I can do over here. I don't really like this. Let's go ahead and lay that green down a little more uniformly, and then I'm going to go ahead and start thinking about some deeper values. Once you have your lighter values established, and you would agree that all of these are fairly light, with the exception of this ball right here, which is copied on the copy machine for you. Now I have to define, or decide rather, where the darker values are going to be. Now this green in my hands is already pretty dark, so I might go ahead and use that. Be careful, not every object is shaded in the same way. For example, the ball here, because it has so many different curves, the shadow follows the curve. So if you have surfaces like this hemisphere, this cylinder, this cylinder right here, even the inside curve of this cutout, if you have curved surfaces, you've got to use a range of value. What's a range of value? A full range of value, a range of continuous tone looks like this. It goes dark and very gradually, going through a range of middle values, approaches your lightest, your white. So that's a range of value, a full range of value. This is very important for shading surfaces that are rounded. If the surface is flat, don't worry about it. You can use a very flat, very even, very uniform value, and that's fine. So either way, we're good to go. As long as we know we can handle those techniques, especially practicing them on the back, we're good to go. Now on this cylinder right here, which is partially hidden, I'm going to go ahead and add in a deeper value right here. This is going to be my deepest, darkest edge on this particular form. Form is three-dimensional, okay? Now notice that even though this surface right here curves, that's a curve, you can tell by the curve up and down. This surface up top is flat, flat, flat. So there are going to be two surfaces that we shade differently, okay? Maybe the same color, but just different approach to shading. As I go from dark to light, follow the form, dark to light, repeat, dark to light, you're going across a rounded surface so the dark to light is appropriate for that round surface, all right? And here I go down below, dark to light, dark to light. Turn the paper anyway. Now I am slowing down right now, pressing as hard as I am. There's a really good chance if I were to make a mistake, it would be a very difficult one to correct. So early on, you can kind of speed through things, laying down your lighter values, but right now, this is not a time to speed through things. Have the paper turned upside down now so I can reach into this corner, and let's see how this is looking. I might go ahead and gently fade that out into the lightest value over here on the right side, and maybe I'm done with that. Could that green go a little bit darker? Yeah, probably. Am I going to make it that darker? Nah. I'm going to go ahead and put in a uniform bright yellow right here, high intensity yellow. Okay, it's related to green. Green is made with yellow and blue, and I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's try this one over here. Now, I'm not going to make it more green. I think I'm going to switch to a red. Again, this has a rounded surface. This is a hemisphere. So you can pick this color, lay it down, As I cross the hemisphere, there are curves this way, okay? Lots of curves. And some curves this way too, come to think of it. If it's a half a sphere, it's like half a ball or half a balloon. You've got lots and lots of curves on those surfaces going in lots of different directions. You notice that I turn my paper in lots of different directions, so I can send my shading off in different directions, make it appear like we have a fully rounded surface here. Now I can still go darker, and this may not be the only pencil color that I want to use, but it is the only pencil color I've got in my hands right now. Be a little careful not to make mistakes. If I think that I could push a little darker, I will. I can press harder, push darker, get a deeper value, a fuller range of value, dark to light. And for right now, I think that's good. I think that's done. Let me flip to another new color. Let's see what we're going to do. This is pink. Pink is a light value. It's a tint of red. I don't know what I can do with it. It might be good for a light surface. For example, if this surface right here, now this is a flat surface, is to stay light, I could very easily use a light color, a pink that has a lot of white in it, and just lay that down there evenly, and that would be all I needed to do. With the same pink in my hand, if I see other surfaces that I want to color over, like this one right here, right over here, do it. Do it while the pencil is in your hand. Balance out the use of that color, put it in many, many different areas, and see if you like it. I might put it right over here. Now it does darken, but it's not that dark. It looks like this pink is blending with that yellow underneath it to give you more of an orange. That's kind of cool. I guess I did a little bit here. Here I didn't press as hard as down there. A lot has to do with pressure. Now let's switch. This is light. Over here, for contrast, I'm going to make that dark. I need to see contrast between these two surfaces, that one and that one. And contrast means that one is going to be lighter than the other, and one is going to be darker than the other, okay? We need to see that relationship in order to see that midline right there and know that this is a three-dimensional form. The contrast tells us as much. So here we have light and dark. Can I go darker? Sure I can. I can do that gradually, though I don't have to do it all at once. See this little sliver of flat surface facing straight up? Again, you can leave it lighter. Here I'm just going to throw in some yellow there. Maybe I'll go back and adjust this a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, a little bit more towards medium. Just a little bit of an adjustment with the red. Didn't have to be the red, it just happens to be the red, leaving that alone, okay? With the, let's try this color. This is kind of a metallic blue. I'm going to go ahead and put this down here on this cone. And it could be that I have darker on one side. Look at that, I'm pressing harder. Lighter on the other, so now I'm going to go dark to light. Because I'm following the curve, right? There is a curve on a cone, it wraps around, and I'm going to follow that with a continuous range of value, best I can do for this small area, dark to light. And if I didn't think that that was dark enough over there, I might go in with a different color, press a little harder, get a little darker, just so I have a bigger range of color. That looks pretty cool right there, okay? So you can see how this is going to evolve. You can always go back and adjust your colors. If this red is a little too intense, you think it's too bright, we can neutralize that red. Let's throw some green down. This is a blue-green. It has some green in it. Red and green are complementary colors. They do neutralize. This is going to make it more of a gray, make it shift more towards a shadow area. Let's take this same green and put it down here. I'm going to put the green on here and come back this way, dark to light. Each object can be shaded independent of the others. You don't have to have a single set rule for all of them. In this case, the light's on the right side. Down here, the light was coming in from the left. The blue that I'm putting down is blending with the yellow that was underneath it. And you can see how I'm going dark to light, moving from the left to the right. That's working. Leave the top alone. Leave that bright. Let's jump back down here again. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be hexagonal. It's got 6 sides, 3 on this side, 3 on the other. So let's go these hexagonal sides, each one a little bit different in value. Let's keep one very, very light. Here, I'm going to keep this middle one very, very light. Okay, so I'm just going to go in with a yellow. I could have just left it alone. Let's go a little darker to the left, a little darker to the right. I'm going to throw down a green here. That's going to neutralize with the orange, make that appear a bit more of a brown. Okay, those neutralized shadowy colors are always kind of good to use. So again, the experimentation that's going on here. And this color over here, let's see what I can do with that. I'm going to go ahead and push that down with a red. Let's see what kind of a relationship we have. Well, I'm going to make that darker. I'm going to make that red darker. I'm going to make it more intense too. You can see it higher intensity. So you can see I'm just really concerned about lights, mediums, and darks, especially on those curved surfaces. Let me go ahead and color this in very lightly. Let me drop a little shadow right there. Let me neutralize that area with a little bit of green. Okay, so it looks a bit more natural, more normal. Let me pump a little bit more yellow in here to make it more intense, seem like it's receiving a bit more light to the surface right there. Let me go ahead and add some of that same over here to kind of unify, to knit together all three of those areas. Not bad. So you can see some areas are looking pretty three-dimensional, the ones that I worked on, and some areas are looking still pretty flat. So individually, you've got to decide if there's a curve to the surface or not, and then you apply your colors appropriately. Curves are much more complicated in a way because you've got to use a full range of value like this. Flat surfaces like these, not so much. You can just use light, medium, and dark on these, light, medium, and dark if you wish to, okay? Now, you try.